Gratitude practices is one of the most commonly talked about things in the self-help and personal development world. Have you ever wondered how gratitude affects your health? Stay tuned to find out. My name is Tiffany Toombs. I'm a high-performance mindset coach that has worked with thousands of people across the world to help them reprogram their mind, recalibrate their bodies, and step into a level of success they didn't even know was possible for them. In this video, I'm going to share with you how our thoughts, whether positive or negative, impact the body. Then I'm going to share with you how having a gratitude practice can neutralize the negative impact that those disempowering and negative thoughts have on the body and on our health. And finally, I'll share the secret to an effective gratitude practice because most people actually do it incorrectly. An average day, the average person has 60,000 thoughts. That's 60,000 thoughts a day. That is a lot of thoughts. Now, 80% of those thoughts are actually negative. You see, human beings are programmed with what we call a negative bias. And this served us well back in the cavemen days. What would happen is the cavemen would hear a rustling in the bushes, they would assume it was a saber-toothed tiger, and they would run back into their cave for safety. The cavemen who didn't have the negative bias would say, I'm sure it's just a squirrel. And eventually they were eaten and unable to pass along their bloodlines. So this negative bias has been passed down through the generations as part of our evolution. The problem is that it no longer serves us. We don't have saber-toothed tigers just outside of our homes or our caves anymore. And instead, our body perceives everything from deadlines and angry bosses, crying babies, to maybe the dog that you hear snoring in the background right now as a negative and as something that could harm us or kill us. Now, the way that the body works is that every time we have a thought, that thought causes our body to release a chemical, also known as a hormone. Now, this hormone is going to match the type of thought that we just had. So if we've had a negative or a stressful thought, then our body will release stress hormones. If it's a positive thought, on the other hand, then our body will release feel-good hormones like endorphins that lift our mood. From there, those hormones cause us to experience a feeling or an emotion that is in line with the thought and the hormone, and those emotions cause us to think more of the same thoughts. So when you wake up in the morning, if the first thought that you have is negative, you put yourself into this cascade of negative thoughts throughout the day, and it becomes significantly harder to turn your thought processes around to find things to be grateful for, to be happy about, or even to help you be innovative and creative to solve problems and to take your business or your workplace forward. So it's important that we get the thought aspect right, especially in the beginning of the day. In fact, our unconscious mind, which is the part of the mind that controls our life, is most suggestible in the first 20 minutes after we wake up. When our conscious mind is still kind of groggy and waking up, our conscious mind is most programmable. So this is why people who talk about morning routines often talk about meditating, journaling, exercising, doing yoga, doing some sort of energizing activity or mindfulness activity to program your mind with positivity. If you're the type of person who rolls over and checks social media, reads the news or listens to the news, or maybe checks your email, you're more likely to put yourself into a negative mindset from the moment that you wake up because you're less in control of what information is coming into your mind. Now, we essentially know that our thoughts lead to feelings through the process of hormones. From there, our feelings lead us to take specific actions. This is where our daily habits are developed. Now, if you're waking up and putting yourself into that stress cycle right away, thinking negative things which causes you to feel stressed and anxious and in a down or angry mood, do you really think you're going to effectively go out and take action towards your goals? Probably not. This is where you're more likely to get stuck in limiting behaviors like procrastination, perfectionism, any of the self-sabotaging behaviors that keep you stuck. From there, our actions determine the results that we get. So if you're not getting the results that you want in your life, if you're not making the money that you want, if you're not having the relationships you want, if your business isn't growing the way that you want it to, your health is not where you want it to be, then you could focus on the actions, but that's just gonna keep you spinning your wheels. The best place for you to start to have the most impact for the effort that you're putting in is with your thoughts. And that's where practicing gratitude comes in. Now, before I share with you how gratitude negates the impact of these negative emotions on the body, I want to remind you to subscribe to my channel. I am putting out brand new content and videos just like this one every single week to help you truly master your mind and unlock your potential. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button and like this video while you're there. There have been a number of really interesting studies done on the impact of both positive and negative words and emotions on the body. I'm going to share a couple of them with you in this video, but I want you to know that the body only holds on to unresolved negative emotions. And for most of us, because most people never actually learn how to deal with and manage and express negative emotions in a healthy and productive way, for most of us, that's every negative emotion we have ever felt. Right? If you think about it, from the moment that you're born, every time you cry, you have somebody putting a bottle in your mouth, changing your diaper, attempting to get you to be quiet. As you get older, maybe you're 2 and 3 years old and you throw a temper tantrum, and again, you might get in trouble. You might get sent to your room and told that you can come back from timeout or from your room when you're in a better mood. And as we get older and older, experiencing negative emotions becomes less and less accepted in society. So we actually learn to suppress our emotions. We do this by just saying things like, I'm fine, or I forgive you, let's just move on. Or maybe we engage in some limiting behaviors like drinking or doing drugs or some other addiction that stops us from feeling the negative emotion in the moment. Now, the only way that we can truly let go of negative emotions is to experience them. That's the only way we can release it from the body. And they've done studies on both humans and animals, and they found that especially after traumatic events, animals have tools that they use. They have a process that they go through where they literally shake out the negative emotions. But as human beings, we don't do that. And so the negative emotions become stuck in our nervous system. Now, over time, these emotions become quite toxic to the body and can lead to the breakdown of the body in different ways. In fact, studies have shown that holding on to negative emotions can lead to more injuries, but it can also lead to illness. Every autoimmune disease, from arthritis to cancer to fibromyalgia and liver disease, has been linked back to holding on to unresolved negative emotions. So it pays to release these emotions, and I talk about that in other videos on my channel. You can find them up here or by visiting my channel and looking through the videos I have. I talk about how you specifically can release those emotions. But what impact does that have? We've talked about injury, we've talked about specific illnesses, but it can also lead you to gain weight. One of the protective mechanisms of the body is that when there's toxins in the body, whether this is toxins that we're taking in from the outside world through chemicals or alcohol or food or anything like that, or it's toxins in the body created from emotion, what happens is, to prevent that from having a negative effect on the body wraps it in fat tissue. And so the more toxins that we have, the more fat tissue we have. A lot of times when somebody is struggling to lose weight, it's because they have too much toxicity in their body that the body is choosing to hold on to the fat rather than to release the fat. Because if it releases the fat, it has to release those toxins into the system, which can cause a lot of issues. Some people like Louise Hay have extensive bodies of work showing where specific emotions in the body are kept. So for example, your liver holds on to anger. So people who have a lot of anger or who are holding on to a lot of anger, they're more likely to experience conditions like fatty livers, liver disease, and just liver failure in general. Their livers are less likely to function effectively. Lower back pain is linked to either a lack of social support or financial stresses and issues. The middle back is linked to holding on to guilt, almost like a get off my back type feeling. I'll put a link in the description where I've listed out extensively what emotions are linked to which different areas of the body. Now, oftentimes, if somebody comes to work with me and they have physical pain in the body, we'll actually look at this list and see if the emotions that are typically stored in that area of the body resonates with them, and we know where we need to do some healing work. Now, there's a couple different studies that are fascinating, and they show the impact of negative words and thoughts on different living things. So back in the 80s, there was a scientist called Dr. Emoto. And what he did was he took 2 glasses of water. Initially, the glasses of water were from the same source, so from the same tap. And 1 glass of water, he sent loving energy and loving words to. He would say things like, "You're so beautiful, I love you, you're amazing." Now, it seems kind of crazy that somebody would talk like this to a glass of water, but they wanted to see what the impact of these positive words were on the molecular structure of the water. The other glass of water, they said negative things to it. "You're so ugly, you're a loser, I hate you." And they kept them in different areas. 1 got sun, 1 got darkness. Now, this shouldn't matter, it's just water, right? Well, at the end of the study, they froze the glasses of water, and then they looked at the crystals that formed in each the positive and the negative glass, and what they found was astounding. What they found was that the glass that received the positive words and energy formed beautiful crystals that were perfectly symmetrical. They were just so gorgeous. The crystals that formed in the negative glass of water, on the other hand, were cracked and misshapen and asymmetrical, and they didn't look very nice. They repeated this study by taking a glass of water from a fresh nature source, like a mountain spring, and 1 from a lake next to a factory that was slightly polluted. Did the same thing, and they found similar outcomes with the crystals. The polluted water, which has been receiving a lot of negative energy from the pollution, had gross, cracked, misshapen crystals, while the mountain spring water had beautifully shaped crystals. Now, these studies have not just been done on water. People have repeated it with everything from cups of rice, so taking a cup of rice from the same bag and speaking positive and negative words, cutting an apple in half and saying positive and negative words to each half of the apple. What they found was that the half or the cup that got the negative energy and negative words molded faster than the side and the cup that got the positive words. More recently, IKEA, the furniture store, did a similar study or a demonstration at schools for kids. And what they did was they took plants and put them behind glass so that nobody could touch them. Obviously, they could still be watered and get fresh air, but they were behind glass. And 1 plant had the sign, "Bully me," over top of it. 1 plant had the sign that said, "Love me." And so the kids would go in and they would say hateful things to one of the plants, and the kids would say nice things to the other plant. And what they found was the plant that was being bullied wilted and died off way faster than the plant that was getting the love. So, why am I sharing these stories with you? Well, having these negative thoughts for 80% of your day is definitely having an impact on your body. It is breaking your body down. It is making you more susceptible to injury and illness, and nobody wants that. When we start to reprogram this negative bias using gratitude, we can begin to neutralize all the negative impacts of the negative words by simply reprogramming this bias and thinking more positive things throughout the day, celebrating our wins, thinking about things that we have to be grateful for, being excited for the future that's to come. we actually can start to reverse the effects of the negative thoughts that we've been storing. This allows our body to start releasing those toxins at a slow rate so that it doesn't cause injury or illness, and our nervous system can return to a state of calm instead of being in fight or flight all the time. So practicing gratitude absolutely has a powerful effect on your health. Now, before I share with you how to actually practice gratitude effectively, because most people get it wrong, I want to hear from you. Of the information I've shared so far in this video, what was the most mind-blowing piece for you? Go to the comments below and let me know. So, gratitude, we know now, absolutely can have a positive impact on our health, on our minds, and on our life. But how do we actually practice it effectively? Some people will choose to have a dedicated journal where they write down 2, 3, 5, 10 things a day that they're grateful for. Some people will choose to have a jar that they put little slips of paper about what they're grateful on into that jar. Some people will share it around the dinner table or text a family member or a friend. All of these ways absolutely work. The most important piece of the gratitude practice, though, is that you're actually feeling grateful. Now, I'm saying this from a place of knowing. The first 3 years that I practiced gratitude, I was doing it wrong. This is how I know that it only works if you do it right. What would happen was gratitude practice became another thing that I had on my to-do list every day. And I found that there were nights where my head would hit the pillow and I would realize, I haven't done my gratitude yet. I would get up and I would say, I'm so angry. And I would write down the things that I was grateful for, and then I would go back to sleep because now I had ticked this off the list, and that meant I was practicing gratitude. But I wasn't actually practicing gratitude. I was just feeling more annoyance and anger and like, how could I forget this again? So, as you go through your gratitude practice, whether you write things down in the moment that they're happening, or if you reflect and review on your day at the end of the day and write down what you're grateful for, make sure that you are taking the time to genuinely feel grateful. This is going to be the thing that sets you apart from people who are just going through the motions. This is what's going to be what allows you to rewire your brain and completely change the health of your body. Now, if you find yourself getting stuck or maybe not wanting to just write down what you're grateful for every day, I have put together a list of 30 different gratitude journal prompts to get you thinking about gratitude in a slightly different way, to stretch you a little bit more and to open your mind to a new level. So all you have to do to get these 30 journal prompts absolutely free is go to www.selfmasteryjournalprompts.com/now or click on the link in the description below and you'll be able to get instant access absolutely free. Thanks so much for watching.